never switched up, I just changed lanes. I be with them niggas getting money and with niggas who gang bang. You niggas too frilly, you too strange. Cop some better work, hit the block, save up, get a new chain. I see my uncle hop in a new range. He taught me how to rap, bubble pack, now I got me some new flavor. I know y'all niggas thought that y'all had me, but the glick in the stash, she tried me. Get popped like acne, we got buttons on the back of them ratchets. Two turn can relax me, rock designer, bitch, ain't none of us tacky. Ain't have nothing but some noodles in the crib. On that demon time, I move crucial with my blick. Baby, I'm a blood, but I be grooving with my sig. I be getting paranoid, bitch, don't be moving through my crib. No, it's RMSG, and I started this shit with Miz. Vamping in the jacks, they know I did this shit with shiz. We really put that bat on ass. We don't talk about them kids. They know I'm from the trenches, so it is what it is. Yeah.
Yo, it's your boy Norbs, and this is 10A Podcast, and we're just, we're back. We're definitely back over here. We're talking that shit. I'm actually updating you guys on some things. Teofimo to Lopez actually fights on, when does he fight? Fights on Friday. I thought it was Thursday, if I'm not mistaken. But anyways, so Teofimo Lopez, I'm trying to find a video on Instagram. I'm kind of trying to fix up some of this shit over here. It's kind of annoying, to be honest with you. But Teofimo Lopez goes out and does like an interview. He does like an interview, and maybe it's hype for his fight. And I'm gonna give the credit to Fight Hype. This is where I actually seen it. I'm gonna play the audio. I don't want to get blocked because this shit is kind of crazy. But Teofimo, I'm gonna put it on right now. Let me just make sure I get into the the right settings. Let me see if it's on.
Rolando Romero is coming off a really bad back injury, and he has a lot of problems there. You guys probably didn't know about that, huh? Well, I did. I know a lot of it's time to expose everybody. So, my whole thing is that, he got a lot of back problems, a lot of neck problems. Maybe Pitbull could take advantage of that when they fight each other. Whoever did the banner, though, it should just be Romero versus Cruz. I don't think it should be called Rollie versus Pitbull. It doesn't make sense, but hey, I'm not on that side. We're on this side over here. So, I wish nothing but the best for these guys. Everyone's coming to 140 for a reason because Teofimo X'd out the big king, the big guy. That was Josh Taylor. Now everybody want to come to 140.
So he comes out and makes the statement. Now, it's kind of weird. So remember, Teofimo was talking about retirement at one time at 140, saying he was done, he's done enough, whatever, right? And which I thought was kind of fucking stupid, to be perfectly honest, because you just beat the king of that division, which was Josh Taylor. You should be undisputed in the division, but we know what happened in regards to Josh Taylor having to relinquish one of those belts. So I thought it was all bullshit. Apparently somebody got to him and was like, no, bro, you now have Ryan Garcia, Devin Haney in your division, Rollie Romero. You got three guys that are extremely popular. Listen, whether you like Rollie Romero or you don't, he is extremely popular. Like, he is one of those guys that draws people. I'm entertained by him. I was just in a conversation with my brother, Joe McCoy, who's a huge boxing fan now. And he was like, yo, I don't care. This is exact words. I don't care if Rollie's not good. He is entertaining. And what does entertainment bring in this day and age? It brings viewership. Ryan Garcia isn't the best fighter in the world. Gervonta Davis isn't fighting the best fighters in the world, but they're entertaining. People have a following. Rollie Romero is not the best fighter in the world. In this day and age, it's not about who's the champion. It's simply about who is getting the most viewership. And I think that's where Teofimo kind of started, understanding. And he was a little frustrated because at one point he wasn't getting any of the big fights. I mean, popularity or the big checks. He felt like he was underpaid. Let me say that, because he did get Lomachenko. He ended up getting Josh Taylor. He got a big fight with Kambosos or whatnot, right? But he wasn't getting paid. So now he's starting to realize that in order for him to get paid, you have to speak more and be more controversial, which, in my opinion, was against his father's liking, because we've seen when he has spoken out, his father has basically jumped into those situations and kind of tried to nullify it and tried to shut down what Teofimo had going on. But Teofimo has been more vocal. In fact, talking more trash, even exposing the Devin Haney situation. He's taken a completely different approach in this year, 2024, and it seems more so to the internet and trolling. And I think that is super dope in regards to him trying to market himself. And I'm a big Teo fan. I think Teo, in my opinion, is the best fighter at 140. That's my opinion. Now, is he the most popular fighter? No, that'll go to Gervonta Davis, of course, the more popular fighter. Devin Haney has gained a lot of popularity with his wins over Kambosos, Lomachenko, and Prograis. So to me, is that fight free on ESPN? I'm not sure. I think it is. I don't know if it's pay-per-view, but I think it sucks. I think it's on Thursday or Friday, if I'm not mistaken, before the Super Bowl in Vegas, which I don't think was a smart move, in my opinion, for Teofimo. But there will be a lot of people in Vegas this weekend. But anyways, back to my point. Teofimo seems to be taking more of a, I don't want to say Adrian Broner approach, but he's taking more of that approach to really start using the internet as a tool to garner more money. Listen, Gervonta Davis is not fighting any champions. Let's be honest with you. He isn't. But he's the second biggest fighter out there, or third, whatever you want to put out there. And he's just entertaining, exciting. And he doesn't even talk much. It's just he has that factor. Ryan Garcia talks. He's a good-looking dude. People tune into Ryan Garcia. I think he got like 8.5 million followers on Twitter. Haney, with the combination of him and Bill Haney. Bill Haney's probably the best promoter / manager you can have, who's literally getting Devin Haney the bag, and he's been getting the bag. So Teofimo, I think, is starting to realize that at this point in his career, it's not about the great fights at this point. It's more so about, getting the draw, getting the check. And you got to think about it. Listen, I did battle rap for, I don't know, 12 years, whatever the hell it was, right? And it was always about garnering the attention of the fans to bring him in, you know what I'm saying? And then delivering a good product. And I feel like in boxing, back then it was more so about the bigger fights. Now it's simply, it's with social media and the power of social media today. I feel like these boxers are now starting to take heed to it. And even look at Shakur Stevenson, who simply can't handle it at this point. Social media is changing the face of how boxing operates. Jake Paul is you're talking about a social media star who became a boxer and a star boxer who's making pay-per-views for these big companies. So, and it's not a coincidence that these streaming companies are now who are based on data, right? They're based on bringing in views and data, are focusing on the online game. And I think now this boxing generation has to start utilizing social media in order to get these big fights. You don't even have to be great. And I think Rollie Romero, and no disrespect to Rollie because I like Rollie, is the perfect example. Rollie Romero is not a great fighter or has not accomplished enough in order to be a big name or a pay-per-view star, but yet he is a huge draw because he's utilized the social media game to his strengths. I mean, Gervonta hasn't had a big fight outside of Ryan Garcia. Hasn't had a big fight. Let's just be honest. This is more so about learning the internet, and I think we're going to start seeing more boxers utilize the TikToks, the Instagrams, the social media aspects of it. And I think right now that's what Teofimo's doing, and that's why he went out there and exposed the situation with Rollie. Now, whether it's true or not, I don't know. It might be. It might make sense simply because when I was watching Rollie the other day, I don't even know my food is. Anyways, when I was watching Rollie the other day, they asked Rollie a question like, "Oh, I was watching the press conference, him and Pitbull, Isaac Cruz, and in that, Isaac Cruz is basically, Rollie's doing his thing. He's pitching the fight, he's talking shit, and he says, he calls him, he says he looks like a fucking pug, whatever, doing the brilliant, what Rollie does brilliant. And then after the fight, he says, they ask him, he goes, why'd you say he looks like a pug? He goes, oh, he looks fat. You don't see him? So you think he's fat? He goes, yeah, he's big. He's fat. He looks like shit. So and then he goes, Rollie, how much do you walk around? And Rollie turns around and says, I'm at 190 right now. He's fighting at 140 pounds, I think, in March. We're in February. Why Rollie would walk around at 190 pounds is absolutely fucking insane. It's crazy. But when Teofimo came out and said what he said about the back injury, it made a lot more sense. And the fact that Rollie was very hesitant to get into a fight, and it took longer than usual. Maybe there is some validity to that. But walking around at 190 when you have a fight in March to get down to 140 is absolutely insane. So maybe Teofimo was putting that out there to garner some attention from him, maybe get into a verbal spat versus Rollie, because Rollie is becoming a very big media star. You know what I'm saying? People tune into Rollie, so but it did make a lot of sense. So I thought it was kind of smart in Teofimo's side to do that, because you're utilizing the tool to start selling the fight. Listen, look at Rollie and Teofimo. Teofimo's the better fighter. He's beaten Josh Taylor. He's beaten Lomachenko. He's had the big fights, but yet Rollie seems to be a bigger draw because he's utilizing the Instagrams and all these things better than Teofimo. Teofimo's the better fighter. He's the champion. But more people probably right now are tuned into Rollie simply because of his antics. He's understanding it. And I think Teofimo is starting to utilize that, maybe even to possibly draw that fight. Maybe to get a Rollie Romero. Again, Rollie Romero is not on his level skill-wise or accomplishment-wise. But in terms of the profile building aspect of it, Rollie is where Teofimo wants to be. Rollie's showing up there looking like fucking he shows up with the minks, looking like Craven the Hunter, selling the fights, getting millions off of these fights. Teofimo has complained about being underpaid. Now, my man Richie Banks comes out and says, and this is just facts. You guys want to argue this? We can argue this. The phone number's underneath. He says, Rollie is a scrub bucket. I don't think Rollie is a great fighter. Okay. But Rollie's gotten himself where he's gotten himself and has understood the game and what value he brings to this shit. And I don't even think Rollie gives a shit about being a champion or any of that. It's more so in this day and age about getting paid and building your profile. And that's where Rollie excels in. And that's where Teofimo has lacked in. He is not he's kind of been held back by his dad. And that's just being honest. Hype, he says, I regularly run into Rollie Romero when he's not in training. 190 pounds is hard to believe. I mean, I'm not saying it's hard to believe, but that's, when that's a lot of weight to take down. And your body, as you get older, that type of weight loss and gain is tough to recover from. It's not that simple. We've watched Roy Jones do it, go up and then go back down. It's not something that I don't believe is healthy. Personally, I don't know. He should be, even if he's walking on 160, 20 pounds or whatever, but 190, you're pretty much walking around as a light heavyweight. You know what I'm saying? And you got to go down to 140. But anyways, that's not the point. The point is that Rollie has become a star by using social media. And there's a lot of guys that are better fighters that would be rated higher. And I'm not saying they're better because I'm personally saying, but they're ranked higher. But in terms of notoriety, in terms of people know, Rollie has done the job. And that's what I think Teofimo is actually doing. I don't even know if the injury is true, but he's baiting him into a fight because that'll probably be his biggest profile fight in a long time. It'll probably be profile-wise. In terms of media, I'm talking about the mass media, a bigger fight than when he fought Josh Taylor. And Josh Taylor professionally is a bigger accomplishment. So you guys got to think about that. Somebody said, Tio got to join Uncle Al and PBC. We in Texas. Rich Banks, I'm with you. But in order to get the demand, you got to do what somebody like Rollie is doing. And I think a lot of these guys can learn from that shit. Rollie is, listen, whether you think Rollie is a good fighter, an average fighter, a bad fighter, a great fighter, whatever you think he is, he's a great promoter. All of these guys can take something from him and learn from him. To be honest with you, listen, the average salary of a boxer is $30,000 a year. That's a fact. These are actual stats, right? But the thing is, if you understand the tool, it's almost like music. Like I have a music background, I have a battle background, whatever. I have a hip hop background. It's about understanding the tools that you have today in order to make yourself a bigger brand. And that's what I did for years. So when I see Rollie, I admire what Rollie is doing in regards to promoting himself, because Rollie is not necessary. He doesn't have the accolades as some of these individuals. He doesn't have the amateur background. He doesn't have, listen, Shakur Stevenson, let's be honest, silver medalist, one of the biggest fighters to get signed, right? Think about it. Rollie Romero is probably worth more than Shakur Stevenson, and Shakur Stevenson is by far a more skilled or viewed publicly like that. So you got to take your hat off to a Rollie Romero. And I think this internet, and I think Jake Paul is the one that really started this shit, is the way to go with these fighters. And I've seen a lot of these fighters. I see a lot of skilled fighters out there. And to be honest with you, their promo game has been terrible. I've been offered many opportunities with some boxers where they would like me to help them with their promo, simply because they're just fighters. They don't know anything else. But today's fighter has to learn from yesterday's mistakes. And I think people don't. Somebody said Jake Paul didn't exploit boxing. He actually, he made boxing more relevant today, and he's taught people how to use these tools. He's a social media star who made pay-per-view popular again in boxing. You can't take that away from Jake. I love Jake Paul for that, but I think boxers need to take a page from Jake Paul, take a page from Rollie Romero, and start understanding what they have. Listen, back in the early 2000s, when it came to music, you would press CDs, you would try to get on these DVDs, you would try all these things in order to get your name out there for people could establish your brand. In like 2009 and forward, the YouTube era took over, the Twitter era took over. And what ended up happening was most musicians that are successful today, right now, from social media, from TikTok. There's no more record sales and things of that nature. And I think boxers need to take that same approach. And I don't think people actually understand. I don't think boxers understand that. And boxers, if you want to be that guy, I don't care how great you are. It doesn't matter. There's a lot of guys, skill-wise and accomplishment-wise, that are actually champions that are better than Rollie, that have a bigger profile. I mean, that have a more accomplishments than Rollie Romero, but yet Rollie is getting paid way more than them because he understands the marketing aspect of this stuff. So if you are a boxing individual, I would start looking at trainers, right? But also looking at marketing managers, because the marketing aspect of boxing is where it's been lacking. And if you're able to build your brand, that's when these streaming services are going to come for you. They don't care if you hold a belt. You know what they care about? If you're bringing in the numbers. And I don't think a lot of fighters actually understand that. Your manager, your trainer is your marketing is as important as your training at this point, because you want to get those big fights. And honestly, if I was Rollie, I would open a marketing firm and start charging these guys, because he's killing it. He's absolutely killing it. So I like to see what I'm seeing with Teofimo and him opening up more and just kind of just putting his personality out there, simply because it's going to make boxing bigger and bigger. And there's a lot of people complaining about, oh, there's no big fights, there's none of this. This is how you build them up. You know what I mean? Listen, Terrence Crawford just had his biggest fight with Errol Spence at the age of 35 years old. Listen, not everybody's going to have the backing of a Canelo Alvarez with Golden Boy. There's a lot of boxers out there that don't have a push because they don't know how to market themselves. This boxing of today is similar to what music was. And this is real talk. Think about it. 80s, 90s, whatever. Music, you would sign to a label, the label would promote you, the label would make you a star, they would put out your music and take a big cut, right? Then what ended up, and same thing with promoters. You would sign to a promoter, the promoter would put you out there, you'd beat these guys, you'd get some belts, and they would market you, right? Boxers aren't doing that. What rappers ended up doing was, the internet was there. Oh shit, we got SoundCloud. We're gonna put our stuff out there. We're gonna start utilizing these things. We're gonna go. There's no rules. Now we're gonna put our careers in our own hands. So you gotta take your hat off to somebody like Rollie Romero, who actually understands this. He's by far ahead of everybody else that's actually doing this. He's actually a marketing genius. And in order for boxing to prevail, I think Jake Paul showed it. You have to attack the social media world, and these guys have got to be more in touch with that, as great of a boxer as you are, you need to have a team around you that's going to market you to put you in a place where you can win. And that's where Rollie Romero is successful over everyone. Again, it's not belts, it's not accomplishment, it's not his amateur career. It's the fact that he understands that when people like a video or a video goes viral, his value goes up. And those streaming companies that are cutting that big check are going to cut the checks based upon your numbers, not how many wins you have, not how many belts you hold. It's simply about your draw. And Rollie Romero has mastered that. Gervonta Davis has mastered that. Gervonta Davis has not had any real big fights. He's a pay-per-view guy. Devin Haney, his understanding that. Bill Haney is a fucking genius. These guys are understanding, utilizing the social media aspect of this in order to control the narrative. Bro, these guys are controlling the weight clauses and stuff like that because they're the A side. How do you become the A side? Not by the belt in this day and age. It's by understanding how you build up through the media, and you gotta give that up. I would love to work with some of these boxers and develop their media games, because if you really think about it, that's what it's about. It's not about the labels pushing you no more, guys. Those eras are over. If you're able to go out there and become it sounds crazy, but if you're out there and you become a boxing professional boxer, and you understand marketing, you can be a star, guys. People, this is crazy, and I learned this the other day. There's a guy named Carlos I met in Fellini's Pizza. I was at Fellini's Pizza in Atlanta. I took my kids there, right? And I see him. He's there. I think he's like his family is there, and there's a female with him, and she had a Gervonta Davis tank sweater, and they look like a boxing family. So I started talking to them, and it just opened my eyes to a lot of shit. And I asked him. He was like, he's a professional boxer, and I was like, how long have you been doing it? He goes, I've been doing this for a long time, whatever. And I was like, I got a question, because I went to a fight one day, right? I went to a fight in Atlanta. I forgot the name of the company or whatnot. And I felt like it looked like people just signed up a paper and just, here you go, I'm a professional boxer. And there was guys getting killed. And I was like, how is this even possible? Then I watched a video of a professional fight of this guy that you clearly know he didn't train, but he was in a professional fight. I don't know how he got that fight. It's on YouTube. It's absolutely insane, right? So I watched these fights, and I asked him, I said, like, what does it take to become a professional boxer? And he says it was like, I think it's like $250. You have to sign for your license or some shit to the commission, and then you have to get a physical, and they check your eyes and shit like that. And you literally get your license to box. It's not like the NBA. It's not like baseball. It's not like hockey where you get drafted and they develop you. So you got to think about that. There's more professional boxers out there than any professional sport. And it doesn't even take getting trained to become a boxer, right? So how do you get there? How do you get to those levels? And not everybody gets picked up, So it really taught me a lot in regards to how boxing operates. It's boxing really reminds me of hip hop in a sense. And in that regard, I feel like if people understand how to market themselves like a Rollie Romero, and people can say, he's a scrub, he's all this, whatever you want to say. I don't think he's the greatest fighter, but he's a fucking genius. He's learned, he understands the game. There's a lot of professionals that I've seen out there that don't understand this. They're great fighters, but their profiles, and they're waiting, and it's simple to battle rap. Like when I was doing battle rap, a lot of guys would sit back and wait. Oh man, I need to get booked. I need to do this. I need a big matchup. You're letting everybody else do your work, guys. When in reality, if you get that opportunity and you sell yourself, you control the money. You control your deal after that. Who's going to talk to you when you don't need them to make the fights anymore? They need you. And I think that's where boxing is going today. And that's what I think Teofimo is starting to do in regards to what he's saying out there. And listen, I wouldn't be shocked if he does go after a fight with Rollie Romero. Rollie Romero might lose the next 10 fights, let's just say. As long as he continues to be a media draw, people are going to fight him because they're going to get their biggest checks. Terence Crawford's not fighting Canelo for legacy. He's fighting him for money, the biggest bag he could ever get. You know what I mean? Even though if he beats him, it's part of his legacy. But, fighting Rollie's it's not gonna help your resume in regards to how people look at you in the Hall of Fame. It's a profile builder. People should be paying Rollie for promo at this point. And I think Teofimo looks at that fight as attractive simply because of the analytics of the situation. Boxing has become a numbers game. If you're able to draw numbers, then you're able to control what that check is going to be like. And this is what boxing is today. Boxing today is transitioning to the media world. You know what I mean? I'm just being honest. Listen, I know a lot of fighters out there that don't get paid that much, and this is just facts. They don't get paid. And the bottom line is it's because of the fact that people don't want to see them as much. They don't have a big following. You can't sit there and wait. And that's why I'm a big fan of Rollie Romero in that regard, because he understands how to market himself, and his value is high right now simply because people like to listen. The casual fan, like a lot of people, that watch boxing just tune into the big fights and the big hoopla and things of that nature. So if you're not a hardcore boxing fan, you're not going to tune into the regular fights. I mean, I just watched Bivol just cream somebody, or you're not going to tune into a Keyshawn Davis. Like Keyshawn Davis is out there trying to build this brand by getting bigger fights and things of that nature. So to me, it's an interesting game, and at this point in time, I just believe that in order to be a successful boxer at this point, your branding has to be out there. You have to be on everything, and that's why I love guys like Bill Haney. You know what I mean? Like Bill Haney, to me, is the greatest manager out there, bro. Think about it. Out of the, 25 fights that Devin Haney has, how many do we actually know? No, I mean, guys pad their stats and they start using social media in order to listen. He dated one of the more popular chicks, India Westbrook. These are all profile builders. Bill Haney's out there fucking comedy all day. You know what I'm saying? So it's super dope to see these guys actually starting to understand and put their careers in their own hands instead of waiting for a promoter to put you out there. And that's just the facts. Listen, it just is what it is. And listen, I know some purists are going to be against this approach simply because, you go up to and you win and bro, there's a lot of great fighters out there that never get the opportunity. And there's a lot of fighters out there that are, that are getting a week's notice of a fight, 2 weeks notice of a fight, and they're losing a whole lot of weight. And you got to think about it. When you're a fighter, you gotta be in shape like 24/7. But if you're working a regular job, how can you eat shit, sleep, boxing when you got to take care of your family? So I think a lot of boxers' new approach is going to be this. Are we going to get classic matchups like this? I don't know. But the promotional companies, you can't rely on them. You know what I'm saying? Even if I would say maybe out of all the professional fighters, maybe 15% of them are probably signed to major promotional companies. There's a lot of professional fighters out there, bro. There literally is a lot of professional fighters. Not all of them are signed. So, I'm just saying the Teofimo thing, I feel like we're going to see a lot more social media shit. I'm starting to really enjoy this shit, but that's pretty much what this blog is about. But what do y'all want to see? What do y'all believe? Do y'all want to see Teofimo versus Rollie? I do now after that shit. I just want to see the fuckery behind it. You know what I mean? I want to see Devin Haney versus Ryan Garcia. You know what I mean? And it's not even the best. That's not even putting the best versus the best. The best versus the best would be Devin Haney and Teofimo at 140. Gervonta at 135, maybe against Lomachenko or Shakur. But in order to make that fight intriguing, you have to make these guys cut the check. And that's what I've been loving in seeing guys like Bill Haney, Teofimo Lopez, what they're doing, Devin Haney, Rollie Romero. It's crazy. We know Noah's favorite boxer. No, Rich, you know what's crazy, Rich? I would keep it real. I was probably a Rollie hater. Like in regards to his skill set, I don't think Rollie's the best skill fighter. I was like, I didn't think he deserved the fight versus Gervonta. Whatever. That's my personal opinion. But he gained my respect because, when you're a boxer, bro, you're a warrior. You get that type of respect, right? But the fact that he was able to not necessarily be a top prospect to somebody that people have a lot invested in and turn himself into a star is very impressive. I like seeing that type of things, and that's what Rollie is. He's hilarious, bro. He's a star. People tune in to see him. You know what I mean? Somebody said Teofimo. Yeah, Teofimo and Devin could end up fighting. I agree, but I think we're probably going to see Teofimo and Rollie, and I think I think Teofimo's rooting for Rollie in this fight because it's a profile builder. Teofimo, listen, guys, if you guys forget Teofimo's last fight after he beat Josh Taylor, I think it was Josh Taylor. He was like, "Yo, he feels like retiring. He's done enough. He's now a Hall of Famer." But you got to think about it. Just because you're a Hall of Famer doesn't mean you're financially set. So how does he garner more money? Being a champion clearly isn't the way for him to make the money that he wants. And he's seeing some of these guys that don't have the accomplishments of Teofimo, that are making more money. So he's seeing this, and that's why I believe that you're probably going to see him chase after a Rollie, chase after a Ryan Garcia, simply because they're higher profile individuals. And no accolade wise, those guys aren't going to add to Teofimo's resume, but they're going to add to his profile, which then can turn him into a bigger fighter. That's just the facts. Somebody said, but DS Williams, I don't care if they're friends. Money's money. They could be the best friends. I think he fights Rollie if the opportunity presents itself. I don't know. Listen, it's money. I don't think they're gonna hate each other after that shit. But the opportunity to make millions of dollars doesn't happen every day. They're not just being honest. Great analogy. There's only let me put this up. Hypey. Analogy. Israel are in the red when it comes to Devin Haney. However, they continue to cut the check due to the Haney's ability to promote. Absolutely, and that's what it's about. Listen. These companies, these Amazon companies, these digital companies are in the game to make numbers. They don't give a shit who wins or loses. It's all about the dollar and the digital imprint. And that's what these fighters have to understand. And that's why Bill Haney is a fucking genius. That's why Devin is starting to do it. And Rollie, listen, you could probably name 50 better fighters than Rollie Romero right now. And I'm not trying to diss Rollie. But you can't name 5 better fighters that promote themselves better than Rollie. I'm just being honest. You know, I'm just completely being honest, bro. It's kind of crazy. Somebody's in the red. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if they're in the red. I don't know the numbers, but I do know at one point people were saying boxing was over because you think Showtime and HBO right now would stop messing with boxing if they weren't losing money? No, they would not give that up to these individuals. Amazon sees the potential of what this can be because of the social media aspect. Showtime and these guys did not take advantage of that. It's kind of an older built company, in my opinion. Somebody like myself who understands the media game, understands what the vision is with Amazon. Amazon's seeing these younger fighters, and I've seen what's that kid's name? This is a lot of young kids. Bam Ortiz, I see not Bam Ortiz, I'm messing up names, but there's a lot of younger guys. You go on Instagram, you can start seeing fighters. I seen a kid, I forgot his fucking name. He's gotta be like, he has to be like 9 years old. He's a savage. I'm watching this kid on fucking Instagram. I'm like, yo, who is this kid? It is absolutely crazy. You know what I mean? It is absolutely crazy to see what it is. But if you're Amazon, if you're these streaming companies base everything on the digital imprint. And when you guys got guys like Rollie Romero who understand the game, Bill Haney selling this shit, it's crazy. You know what I mean? Somebody said boxers fail to utilize the biggest platform in the world, YouTube. Instagram, fucking TikTok. I'd be making TikTok videos every day from these guys. There's too many boxers out there that we don't know simply because they don't understand what the future is. And when you're getting the Amazons, when you sit with Amazon, they don't give a shit if you're 18 and oh, this guy's 18 and oh, he got 14 knockouts. They don't give a fucking shit. These guys that are sitting in these offices, do not give a shit about your record. What they care about is, what are his numbers? Holy shit, Ryan Garcia has 8 million fucking followers on Instagram. You think the Zone? I mean, clearly they have Oscar De La Hoya working with them, whatever. But you think the Zone will be pushing this man after the loss he just had, and he's had a lot of crazy stuff going on? If he wasn't a draw, no, it's a streaming company. They're looking at all these guys. You know what I mean? So, it's one of those things. Boxfield, hold on. So Mr. Karate, what up? What up? Support everybody, man. I appreciate y'all. We're gonna keep building this channel. I'm gonna be on every day at 12. Came on a little later because I'm trying to work. I might change my streaming service to do so I can stream on Instagram as well at the same time. Though I think Teo's gonna beat Ortiz. He's gonna stop him. We're gonna see. I'll tell you this: at 140, I don't think Teo looked as strong as he did at 135. Just being honest, I don't think he has that one punch power that he had at 135. So we're gonna see at 140. I think he wins the fight because I think Teo is one that his skill set is there. He can box. You know what I mean? He throws great combinations, good defensive fighter. I think Teo wins. Now, in terms of stopping him, I don't think Teo has brought up his power to 140 right now, but we're going to find out if he does, to be honest. Do you think Francis? No, I think AJ's going to dominate Francis, to be honest with you. I think Tyson Fury was out of shape. I think he didn't take that fight serious, and I think AJ's going to destroy him. I'm just being honest. I think it's not as simple as I think as somebody not training as a boxer like these guys, and AJ's a great boxer. Whether you think he has a soft chin, which he does, you still got to get to it. And I think AJ's going to destroy Francis. I'm just being honest with you. I think AJ, he's that good. He really is. It's just, he doesn't have the strongest chin. You know what I mean? AJ fought 3 mid-tier boxers. Listen, AJ's a beast. He's a beast. People don't realize too, when you're a mid-tier boxer, you're still a mid-tier boxer. When you're coming in from a completely different sport, you're not even mid-tier. To be perfectly honest with you. But anyways, back to the point, man. I mean, I hope y'all like this content. We're gonna be going on about it Monday through Friday, 12 o'clock. Make sure y'all tune in. I think I went over. I went over, but whatever. I appreciate y'all. We're gonna keep this train rocking. I don't listen. You're casual, bro. So I'm calling on casual. But yeah, man. Like, listen. Share the stream. Let people know what we're doing. The game is changing, man. Hopefully these guys understand. I'm gonna try to work with some of these individuals. I got a marketing background, baby. You know what we're gonna do. But at the end of the day, it's the 10A podcast. It's your boy Norbs, and I'll be back tomorrow, 12 p.m. Make sure y'all are on. Let's build this channel. One.
Playing fit for nothing. Little niggas put in work. Shorty riding for his cousin. He be chilling, but it's nothing. You just gotta push his button. I ain't slipping, got a smiffing. Niggas thought that I be bluffing. Yo, I'm a dog, nothing less than a Great Dane. I'm really from the street, so we had to hustle to maintain. I never switched up, I just changed lanes. I be with them niggas getting money and with niggas who gang bang. You niggas too frilly, you too strange. Cop some better work, hit the block, save up, get a new chain. I see my uncle hop in a new range. He taught me how to rap, bubble pack. Now I got me some new flavor. I know y'all niggas thought that y'all had me, but the glick in the stash, she tried me. Get popped like acne. We got buttons on the back of them ratchets. 2 turn, can't relax me. Rock designer, bitch, ain't none of us tacky.